Now we've finally reached the final phase of the SIETE editing system for Adobe Premiere, and that is E for export. This is step 5, and what we're doing here is we're going to be exporting a file usable everywhere. Now, as we're working with Adobe Premiere, a Premiere project file, if I push save, it's saving a Premiere project file. Now, Premiere project files can only be opened up in Adobe Premiere. They're useless everywhere else, completely useless. So what we want to do is use this to come back to edit with. It's always editable, changeable, add toable, lots of stuff you can do work with here. But what we want to do is make a file that we can send out to share with anybody that does not have Premiere. So the goal here is to make something which we could put on YouTube. We could put this on a website. We could put this in a DVD. It's savable lots of places and useful. We can email this to somebody and they can play it on their phone, for example, but not the Premiere project file. So first we have to export this. So what we'll do is we're going to go to File, Export. Now there's a much easier way. I'm doing the old way. So you could do Export Media. What that's going to wind up doing is taking us to the Export tab. So these 3 essentials for Premiere are Import, Edit, and Export. And we've expanded on that by doing a bit more in our SIETE acronym. But what we want to do is, again, we've talked before about making sure you know where it's saved to. So give it a name, and the name that's on there is going to be based on the sequence. And so we want to choose media file, and we want to use the H.264 format. This is very universal, really high quality format. They've been working on this for years. It's been around for a long time. They continue to update it, and it's a great file format. So using the H.264 format, we're going to name this. So I'm going to call this SIETE Demo. And I got to give it a location. If you don't know where it went, you're lost. So you might send this to the desktop or to your folder or someplace, but it should be someplace you know where it is. So I'm going to go to, in my case, I'll go to Downloads is fine, and choose Save. So now it has the essentials. It knows where it's going, and it knows what its name is, and it has a file format selected. Now it's important to note that there's a bunch of other presets over here you can work with for different kinds of output for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So these are all sort of similar in a lot of ways, but this is going to send it straight to YouTube. So we're going to just use media file here, and we've got where it's going. We are using the H.264 format, and now all we have to do is click Export. Now, later we'll talk about the media encoder. Right now, let's keep it simple with the export here, and it's exporting. So while it's exporting, you cannot do anything else in Premiere. That's what the benefit of using the Adobe Media Exporter is while you're exporting in Premiere, from Premiere using the Media Exporter, you can go back to Premiere and work on more stuff. So sometimes you're working on many things at once. You can actually queue up lots of things in the Media Exporter. So let's click Cancel and check that out. Going back to Export, let's do this again. So let's call this SIETE Demo 2. And this time I'm going to choose Media Encoder. And the Media Encoder is a very powerful application made by Adobe that allows the user to export all kinds of different media from different types to different types. That includes graphic images, photographs, videos, audio, lots of different things. So here's what it looks like. This is Media Encoder. It looks a lot like Premiere, but we can't see the content. So over here, once I've sent something to this, or dragged and dropped it in here, the H.264 format is visible here. The name is over here where it's going. This is sequence 1 where it's coming. This is the source. And all we have to do now is click play or start queue. Now this is nice because you actually stack up a bunch of things in here to work. And again, the benefit here is that as you add that up, then go back to Premiere, you can go back to work on that same piece and maybe add more content to it or work on another sequence or whatever it is that you want to do. So that's how we do our exporting, and that's the 5 steps of the SIETE editing system. That is setup, import, edit, text, and export.